Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. Welcome to hour number 3 of the line, Talk 99.5 and Talk995.com. There's there's something crazy going on at the Obama Presidential Center opening day. There's a there's a band, it's a group, and it's these, I guess, younger guys, and they're all jumping up and down like Rage Against the Machine. And they panned to Kamala Harris and Dougie Fresh, and watching his white ass like kind of bob to the beat was
Yeah.
like so cringe. Oh, like, come on. Why are people so loud in the hallway?
I know not.
I mean, people just don't care. They just don't care. It's crazy. I had the other day, or I guess it was a couple weeks ago, there were a couple people loudly talking in the hallway, and I had just exchanged spots with Leland. So I had just walked out, and he had started his show, and he yelled. He's like, "Hey, why don't y'all in the hallway shut up?" And he said me. He said it was me. He said it was me and some other people, and that's what he said on air. And so I don't think I ever corrected him, but I'm like, if there's anybody in this building that's gonna be quiet while they walk by that studio when the on air light is on, it's gonna be me. Because I have to deal with that crap every single day.
Yep.
And because I gotta have air circulating in here, I gotta keep the door open. If the door was closed, I would still hear them, but it wouldn't be as bad. But I gotta keep it open. And people just have no concept of
No couth. They don't care.
They-
They don't care.
it drives me nuts. Real quick, I want to hop back to the pest control thing because we did have some text about that and I never followed up on it. Bill says, I live in Trussville and the pest control guy came by my house too, asked for a bottle of water. He said it was White Knight Pest Control. Sounds racist. But same thing happened with mine. He's like, I got one last question. He's like, do you have anything to drink? And I'm like, yeah, cool. I went and got him a couple bottles of water. But the way they do that is they have a group of people, and I think I explained this last hour. A group of employees, though usually, I guess it depends on the size of the crew. But when I worked as an ADT subcontractor, we'd send out like 3 vans. You'd have a team leader, which would be driving the van. And we, in particular, because of what we were selling, we would look up crime stats, like where 911 calls have been made over the past few weeks for like police reports and break-ins, stuff like that. And we would go to those particular areas. And so when we would knock on those doors, we would be able to say, hey, there's been some recent break-ins in your neighborhood. And so we're with ADT and we wanted to, offer this special for you in the event that happens to you, because we don't want that to happen to you. About 3 crews for that company I was working for. It was actually in a little building that was in Trussville where, when you're going down Chunkville Mountain Road, you pass Walmart. So you're coming from Pinson towards Trussville.
Yeah.
You pass Walmart, and then you go over the bridge on the interstate. And then to your left is like McDonald's and Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And to your right, there was, at least at one time, there was a Guthrie's there. And then there was a building back behind that. It was in that building. That was where our office was. But they'd send out, 3 vans of people, and they would take us to these areas, and the team lead would just drop us off. And so we would all have to, and this was in summertime too, they'd drop us off, and we'd have to go door to door knocking on people's doors. And if they didn't answer, we'd leave them a little card or whatever. But
Oh, man.
it was awful, dude. It was awful because you had to be able to, talk them up and make them feel comfortable that there's a random person at their front door, asking them to buy something. Although it almost feels more legit than a random phone call that you'd get from a company trying to convince you to buy something. But we would go and we would say, okay, all you'd have to pay today is $100 for the equipment and the installation, and then it's X number of dollars per month for the service, and then the equipment's yours. But we also got the opportunity to not charge them for the equipment and the installation. And the difference would be if you did charge them for it, you would get that $100. But if you waived it, then you wouldn't get the $100. It just depends on.
That's a rip off.
Well, it all depended on whether or not, like, you didn't want to tell them you'd give them the installation for free if you felt like they were gung ho about it. But if you get to the end and they're like, nah, I don't really want to do it, be like, well, tell you what, I'll give you installation for free, $100. You don't have to pay today. You just got to sign this contract that'll lock you in for a year or whatever it was. It's essentially the same thing here. They're taking people to these neighborhoods and they're dropping them off. What was weird about the guy that came by my house, he said my neighbor's name. He said, we actually do the pest control for your neighbor. And I don't know if that was true or not, because it may have been he just went to his house and did the same thing, found out his name. And so he would go to each house and tell them, hey, yeah, your neighbor uses us. It's just we're already going to be in the neighborhood. But the reason I even bring it up is because some people on Facebook were saying these individuals were being like hyper aggressive. Tommy says, I'm in Pelham, and no, I have a sign on my front door that says protected by a pit bull. And that's a fact. Yeah, that'd keep them from knocking on your door.
Oh, yeah.
Bubba says, when those pushy salesmen come by, answer the door while cleaning your shotgun with a bloody wife beater on, and they will get going real quick.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Gundog says, I'm in McCalla. I had a guy from White Knight Pest Control come rolling up my driveway on a single fat-wheeled skateboard looking thing. I was in my outside office, which is where I operate my firearm repair business. He said, I had the door open and saw him coming. Naturally, I grabbed the closest loaded a hole puncher I had. It was just a typo. The closest loaded hole puncher I had. He was quite surprised and left rather quickly when he saw everything I had on the walls and in my hand.
I like that.
Walter says, I'd tell him that I do my own pest control and I'm assisted by Mr. Sig Sauer. That's pretty good. Is there any more? Craig says, John Bird, on the sunroof deal, if you open it up in the front corner, stand in the door to see if there's a hole in each corner for the drain. That if take it by one of your mechanic friends, have them get an air hose and blow in the hole. Make sure they're cleaned out. That way your sunroof won't leak. They're small, so it doesn't take much to stop them up. I do auto glass. I see it a lot.
Interesting.
I would definitely advice.
Do that.
And some advice that you need to give. Emily says, I need to know more about this beef tallow and turkey neck stuff. And what brand of beef tallow?
My favorite brand of beef tallow, and it really does work. Now, it's not instant, but you continue to use it, and it works well. My favorite kind is, let me tell you right here, it is beef tallow, and it is, I'm looking it up here, it's beef tallow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, that's what you use as the beef tallow. And here is the name of it.
Come on, John Bird.
It's right here. Okay. It's called Obiter Beef Tallow for Skin. It's a tallow and honey balm with facial moisturizing cream and 100% now, 100% grass fed whipped beef tallow.
Whipped beef tallow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like sort of like whipped cream. And you just add it to your eyes around here. And like I have some smile lines here. And I do it right around here. I do the old turkey neck. I do it day and night, in the morning and at night. And it works. I'm thinking about putting it on my butt to see if I can get my butt bigger.
Maybe you can. You can
Yeah.
get a BBL.
Yeah, that would take a lot. I think a lot of beef tallow.
TJ says, I work in the pest control industry and it's incredibly flooded right now. So all of the big companies are out going door knocking or going door to door trying to find business. Brian says, my house is protected by FAFO securities. Justin says, does your Mustang have a sunroof? God, no.
No, it does have a kind of a crack in the door.
Walter says, best advice on the car, do not touch the sunroof at all. Well, he's not going to be able to restrain himself from doing that because he's going to be so excited. He's going to have to use that sunroof.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I've got a switch. I don't have to manually do it.
Well, yeah, it sounds. So is it. The people are so loud. So is he saying don't touch it, as in don't touch the window, but you can do the switch?
I mean, I guess it works great. My dad only used it once.
Michelle says my husband does glass too, and yes, use an air blower, like the other caller said. A leaking sunroof is a freaking nightmare, though. Good luck. Well, I felt like people are speaking this into existence because did we even bring up anything about a leaky sunroof?
Not a leaky sunroof. I mean, plus it's been in the garage the whole time. So I mean, it's in. When I say pristine condition, I mean pristine condition.
It hasn't been out there in the elements and
no. And my dad, has driven it some, but not, long distances. But he kept the tires changed and everything. I mean, even though he wasn't driving it a lot, a lot of times if you let something sit long enough, tires can dry rot and things like that. But no, I mean, he definitely drove it enough. I mean, and I've driven it before, and it practically drives itself. It's like butter.
Yeah.
Butter.
Bubba Rumble says, putting a hose in the hole fixes other things too, if you know what I mean.
Wink, wink.
John says, if beef tallow makes your butt bigger, what happens if I put it on my wiener? Well, we don't know if it
couldn't hurt.
We don't know if it makes it bigger. But we're gonna find out, because of science.
Right. I mean, I can look that up. I won't look it up on this computer.
But if you would like to make it bigger, you can always reach out to Alabama Men's Clinic. They're right there in Homewood. They're easy to find, easy to get to. By the way, there are treatments for that. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking right now. They've got treatments for that. Not for what would we call it? Not for length, but for
the erectile elongator.
I'm talking about girth instead of length.
Yeah,
it is possible to get a little bit of hang for your wang.
Oh my gosh! I'm glad you used technical terms.
That's right. A little hang for your wang. And I'm not even joking about that. Like, seriously, they have that option. But there's a lot of things that they do and they look for, and treatments are available for all of it, including ED, including low testosterone. I right now am getting ready to start my treatments to see if we can get my testosterone number back to that optimal 600 to 900 level that most guys like to be at. And I'm actually really excited about it because it's also going to couple with my man-do in the sense of, maybe even accelerating the muscle building. So we're going to see how that goes. I'm going to see if I feel better. In particular, I'm looking to feel better in the mornings, like when I first wake up. Y'all are going to be on that journey with me. So, like, once I start my treatments, I'm going to let you know. And then as I go along, I'll kind of, maybe weekly, I'll give a little segment, a little update about how I feel and how it's working and everything else. So, I'm excited, man. I'm excited because I really didn't think I had low testosterone, but apparently I do. And I'm going to get it fixed thanks to Alabama Men's Clinic. Now, how do you know if you got low T? And how do you get on the road to recovery and to get treatments? You got to first make that consultation appointment. What they'll do is they'll talk to you. They'll see what you're looking to do. They'll tell you about all their different options. They'll take your blood. They will test your blood. They will see where your T levels are at. And then they will come up with a plan specifically for you and your situation. So call them at this number, 205-598-7000. Make sure you mention me, though, so they know you're part of the Hey Now Nation. 205-598-7000 and online, alabamamensclinic.com. John Bird's got a couple shows coming up over the next couple of days, Friday and Saturday. If y'all want that info on when and where, go to John Bird's social media. You gonna post that today, or have you already posted it?
No, I'm going to be posting it this afternoon. So if you get it, if you would pass it on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So all the info on Friday and Saturday, go to JB's social media and check it out. Because I'm trying to decide. I really could probably pull both of them off, but I'm trying to decide if I want to do the one tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to tell you tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon and night is supposed to be really, really rainy, and then it's supposed to clear up on Saturday. So it might be better to do Saturday.
Well, I can do Friday if I want.
Oh yeah. I'm worried about you, man. I don't want you guys to get hurt. I mean, you're my money wagon. What if something happens to you?
Well, I'm your buddy wagon. We had fun last time we went, so
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Everybody loves you.
we'll try to see what we can do. I'll know by tomorrow about one way or another.
Yeah, if you can find out by tomorrow morning, I can get in contact with them, get them to hold you a table.
Oh yeah, they did that last time, didn't they? They had my name on it.
Yeah.
That was awful nice.
Yeah, so the sooner you can know, if you can know even tonight, and let me know. But if not, in the morning, and I'll send it in.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. 205-545-9950. That's 545-9950. People still sending in car stuff. Steve from Silicaga says, do not operate that sunroof. The mechanism, parts of the mechanism dry rot, and if it sticks open, you'll spend more to fix it than you would to buy another car. Now, I mean, as far as we know, there's nothing wrong with the sunroof. We just had somebody text in and say, hey, check it to make sure the drainage holes are not clogged up.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, my dad maybe tried it once, but he didn't drive. He just wanted to see what it looked like when he got it.
So it's probably in pristine shape.
Yeah, it's never been
opened.
Yeah, it hadn't been opened.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
And not that I'm going to necessarily open it all the time. I doubt I will.
No, what you're going to do is you're going to get in there and you're going to start missing the Mustang and having all the windows down. Because you're so used to that at this point, you're going to get in there and you'll be like, I know I've got AC and all that, but I really miss the windows and you're going to crank them all down. You're going to have that sunroof.
No.
Your blanket's going to fly out the window.
Nope, that's not the case, buddy. I'm going to be enjoying the air conditioning. I haven't had real air conditioning in years.
It's been years? How long do you think it's really been?
I mean, since 2021, 2020.
Really?
Yeah, because
So
I
as
mean,
long as
the
I've known you?
Mustang was like so air. It wasn't really air. You had to go like 80 miles an hour to get some good cold air.
So you haven't had air conditioning in your car since I've known you.
Well, I mean, I had air conditioning, but it was not good at all. It was almost like not having any.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's 5 years.
So there's going to be no sunroof opening or roll the windows down for me.
That's nuts. All right, throwing some headlines at you right after this. 205-545-9950. Noto Roofing, N-O-T-O Roofing.com. NotoRoofing.com. 205-848-2299. 848-2299. Online, NotoRoofing.com. Get that free roof inspection. Get that complimentary roof tune-up. I don't know why I'm talking like a Latino. It's not a thing about roofing, by the way. I'm not
Andrew.
I'm not tying Hispanics to roofing, although you do see that a lot of that. And they're very good at it. But Noto Roofing, get your free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up. And if you got any issues going on, they'll get you hooked up, man. They'll do whatever you want them to do at the end of the day. They got you covered. 848-2299, NotoRoofing.com. If you want to get in on the show, the way to do it. I've been BSing all day, by the way. It's just one of those days. News was a little slow after last night. We signed the deal, and now we just kind of sit here and wait. Michael Obama actually on stage right now at the Obama Presidential Library. Obama Presidential Center is her first public comment since being called the man at the greatest UFC event ever. I'm sure she's not going to address it. Otherwise, I'd go to it live to see what she has to say. There are quite a bit of people there, though. I will say that. There's still a lot of people out there that love Obama. They were putting stats up on CNN showing presidents' favorability as of today, like even former presidents, and the most favorable. And I think this went all the way back to Bill Clinton. So I guess it was about living presidents. And yes, they did count Joe Biden in that, even though he's brain dead. Obama was at the top with like a plus, 44. Then next was George W. Bush, which was surprising. And those were the only two with a positive positive view from whoever did this poll. I don't trust the poll, but whatever. It was Obama and then George W. And then in third place was Bill Clinton with a -1. Donald Trump was fourth out of 5 at a -21. And Biden was in last place with a -24. So apparently Biden is more unpopular than Trump, according to that poll, which is crazy. At least out of current president or former presidents that are currently alive. So found that fascinating. Let me get over here to Bubba Rumble real quick, and we'll hit these headlines. Bubba, what's up, cuzzo?
Big Mike has a dong and I cannot lie.
Yeah.
That's not a woman, it's a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's kind of a slow news story a little bit, but there is a huge geopolitical news story that the American libtard liberal media doesn't seem to be much interested in, and that's the story getting blown wide open on the rape grooming gangs over there in Europe.
That's right. That is a big one. And we've been talking about some international stuff. What was it I was talking about the other day? Germany and who was it? Was it Germany and France? And they were trying to do their own thing and build their own fighter jets, and they couldn't pull it off. So now they're coming back to America to buy our F-35s. Something like that.
They don't get any. None for you. They can buy like Chinese jets. How's that?
Yeah. Y'all go buy the Temu jets.
Yeah, get the Temu jets. You get a good deal on them, man. And so with this whole thing breaking loose in Europe, Tommy Robinson served time over this a few years ago because he was trying to shed some light on how bad the rape gangs from Krapstakistan really are over there, and it's systemic throughout their entire government and the judicial system and the education system, and religious leaders have all been burying these stories when they come up. And then I got to pivot right back to the couple 100,000 children still missing here in America thanks to the pedo Peter Brandon wide open border scandal. Where are those kids at?
Yeah, so over just to give people some context, over in the UK, they had a 219-page rape gang inquiry report that was released a couple days ago. And I think it was led by a couple people. One of them was actually a survivor and an advocate for this very issue. Let's see. The investigation reveals a major failure in child protection. It documents the systematic grooming, rape, trafficking, and abuse of at least 250,000 vulnerable white British girls by mostly Muslim Pakistani gangs throughout the UK. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's astronomical. And, make no mistakes about it when you consider the ever changing demographics in places like Minneapolis and Dearborn, Michigan, and they got their Muslim safe zones and no go zones for Christians and all that. It might be at least feasible to think that that same activity is going on here and getting ignored and covered up like they do everything with those people.
Yeah, because the report says organized groups with 87 to 95% of convicted offenders having Muslim names, mostly of Pakistani background, targeted girls as young as 11 from unstable homes and care systems. Groomers used gifts, alcohol, drugs, and attention to lure victims, then took them to various locations for repeated abuse. They filmed the abuse for blackmail, trafficked victims, used pregnancies for control, forced conversions, and treated the girls inhumanely. These patterns appear in at least 149 local authority districts, nearly 40% of the UK, showing the problem was widespread and had been happening since the 1950s. And this it goes back to what we talked about, I guess it was earlier this week, when it comes to cultures just not meshing together. Like some cultures are going to be like oil and water, and that is the West and these Islamic cultures. They don't work, and that's why our ancestors fought off these people in the Middle East from taking over Europe so many years ago. They fought tooth and nail to keep these people out of their country because of this very thing. I mean, it's third world debauchery that it brings with it. It's not saying all of these people are engaged in these acts, but it is systematically allowed in those cultures to happen, and that's the problem.
Yeah, when you're talking a 95% rate of those Muslim cultural people, and then you can look right here in America where they're pushing for Sharia law, even in Texas and entire cities based on Muslim culture. We cannot allow that to happen in America. And if you really want to get to on the global scale of things, that's a lot of what we were fighting in World War I in particular, against the last vestiges of the Ottoman Empire trying to go for global domination. And now we can't just sit by idly while we know this stuff's happening on the assumption that it's not politically correct to talk about it.
And they actually let them do it. Keir Starmer, in particular, when he was director of public prosecutions, they had 13,000 suspected rape gang members and pedophiles, and they were let off with warning letters. Warning letters. It was a slap on the wrist and say, please don't do this again, and went back out to go and do the same thing.
Yeah, like guilty of sin, and they get the wrist slap thing, which makes me think that Keir Starmer and his cronies are on the payroll of the Islamic radical regime one way or another. And then we can also assume that we got politicians here in America like Tampon Tim and Ilhan of the Omar and others that are probably quite sympathetic to their causes too, because they're getting monetarily compensated to look the other way.
And we're criticized for bringing up a pedophile satanic cabal of
Yeah,
elites.
it's just seeming more likely as time goes on here. But we somehow, some way, we got to get ahead of it here because it's happening here. Let's just say that much. We don't know the scope or the scale of it all, but there has been stories out of places like Dearborn about this happening already. And we got these Democrats running cover for some truly barbaric, evil activities, probably just for the sake of money. Which, does it get more evil than that?
Nope, absolutely not.
All right, then you and Mr. J. Biz and the Hey Now Nation have a good one over yonder there. And hey now.
Hey now. I just saw Dave Chappelle in the crowd at the Obama thing, too. Dadgummit, Dave. It's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess for Dave Chappelle, if you got invited, I don't blame him for going. Still want to, I mean, he's probably a fan of Obama. I mean, Obama was the first black president. I just wish, he's half black, but whatever. The history books are always going to identify him as black. But I think about how great it would have been to have had the first black president of the U.S. be a solid guy and someone who wanted to do right by the country and didn't have this.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Backwards ass, socialistic, race baiting ideology that catered to Islam, the very thing we're talking about. It would have been so nice, to have someone who truly loved America and that had a wife that loved America and that was a woman. How nice would that have been? But that's not what we got. It's not what we got. I hope maybe conservatives at some point can put up a black nominee, and then we can just be like, hey, this is a do-over. This is actually our real first black president, which is possible because if you can get one that's got a black mom and black dad, you can then make the argument that he would be our first black president.
Our first truly black president.
Truly black president. Black president. But the argument is also made that Donald Trump is the first black president because of how much he's helped the black community.
Yep.
That's not according to Andrew Mclain. That's according to some in the black community. Is not the majority, not a vast number of people, but some do say that. So, just putting that out there. 205-545-9950. When we get back, let me just mention this real quick. So, Bird, we've talked about over the past several days, like these explosions and fires breaking out at warehouses. We had the one with the white liquor or the brown liquor, the paper mill.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there was a couple others that had happened. Well, then there was another one yesterday in Los Angeles, a massive warehouse fire that erupted in L.A.
What's going on?
It said it's unclear how it started. Of course, they may know now, but I doubt it. It was an explosive fire that broke out at a large cold storage facility in Boyle Heights yesterday afternoon, prompting a shelter in place in the area. It's possible that the fire could have turned into a hazardous material situation. Shelter in place was issued for blah, 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 blah. This was sometime around 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And I feel like I see these all the time. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? Anyway, 205-545-9950. More than line coming up next. I love this song, by the way. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Yeah. Now U2 is playing at the Obama thing. But it says Bono and the Edge. Is that some new band he's got?
It may only be just the two of them. The other two couldn't make it or something.
Bono and the Edge. Can't believe they didn't invite Trump to this grand opening. Oh, that's right. I forgot he's too busy saving the world. I was talking to somebody in the hallway from the other station, from Junks in particular, about the Iran deal. He said, what's your thoughts? I said, I think it's good. You know, can't trust Iran, but it's a win when we've gone decade after decade after decade of nobody addressing this problem. And when they do address it, in particular Obama, the JCPOA, it is an absolute disaster. And the same media members that are criticizing this deal were praising, and still to this day, praise the JCPOA and say, oh, we had them. We had them covered. Like, we literally had them. We're keeping them from gaining a nuclear weapon. All the while, they had nuclear facilities that were actively online, 60% enriched uranium, all of these things that they, well, we were checking to make sure that they didn't have a nuclear. Oh, really? Well, then why were all these scientists hanging out in their nuclear facilities with enriched uranium? Can you tell me that? It's just insane. Not only that, but another thing that doesn't get much attention for the JCPOA is the fact that it had a sunset clause in it, which expired. So why in the world would you say, all right, Iran, we need to sign this deal that prevents you from having a nuclear weapon, but after X number of years, the deal is over and then you can get back to it? It goes back to that point that I make to you guys all the time, which is every president that I can remember of my lifetime, with the exception of maybe Ronald Reagan, which Ronald Reagan was out of office in what, 1988 or 90? No, it would have been 88.
88.
No, Carter was 88 to 92.
No, Carter?
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter was before Reagan.
Right.
So
Reagan beat him in 1980.
Reagan was out in 92.
No. He was out in the end of 88.
And then George H.W. Bush.
H.W.
And then Bill Clinton.
Had one term, yeah.
That's right. I was forgetting about George H.W. Bush. But out of all those presidents, so I was born in 85, so I had, I was 3 when Reagan was leaving office. But out of all those presidents in my lifetime, with the exception of a couple of moves with Reagan and tearing down the wall and all of that, none of those presidents ever did anything that was looking out for future generations. Everything was political convenience. Everything was, what can I do that maybe it's good for the American people, but will benefit me politically and benefit my standing with the American people during my political term, whether it's 1 term or 2 terms or whatever. Because otherwise, why in the world would you put a sunset clause? Donald Trump is the first president to say, you know what? I want to do things that are going to help people for years and years to come after I'm long gone, not just from the White House, but from this earth. I want people to still be reaping the benefits. It's why the Trump accounts for newborn children, getting money that will be able to build interest, and they'll be able to, buy a car or buy a home once they become an adult. Like, these are things that, oh, got a break. Coming back, hour number 4 next.